sweet. Without further ado, one of the greatest artists of the 20th and 21st century, Lilly Wachowski.
How's it going? Is everybody's retinas all limbered up? You've done your retinal yoga. I'm excited to be here. I'm sorry I'm not here with my sister. She knew I was going to be coming here tonight, and she was really sad that she was going to miss this. But I thought we could all just say hello, and so I'd like everybody to, when I say 1, 2, 3, I'd like you all to say, "Hi, Lana." Okay? 1, 2, 3. Hi, Lana! Now I'll turn it over to my pal, Asia.
All right. Hi, Lilly. The first question I'm going to ask you is, so I'm a connoisseur of context, and what I would like to ask you is, after making the Matrix trilogy, and not just the Matrix trilogy, the Matrix MMORPG, the Matrix video games for PlayStation, the Matrix comic book, and probably so many other Matrix things we don't know about, where was your head at and where was your heart at? And then what is you and Lana's relationship to Tatsuo Yoshida's Speed Racer?
Okay, so, well, we were pretty tired after all of that. But there was, between all of that stuff and Speed Racer, we actually went off and helped our pal James McTeague make V for Vendetta in between. So we got to have a breather on that one, and shot second unit. As a director, we were thinking that we thought shooting second unit would be easy. All you do is, you shoot some action scenes, you shoot some inserts, all the fun stuff. And so after that film, I was really tired, and we got to sort of refill the pond a little bit, and we cooked up this idea to do Speed Racer. We had seen that script in the Warner Brothers script vaults, and I think Richard Donner was at some point attached to direct it. And there was one film version that had Johnny Depp playing Speed Racer as well. And so
that's wild.
We that kind of went away, and we were like, let's go back to our childhood and figure out. It's a funny thing to like go back into your childhood and find a piece of media that was sort of ingrained in your childhood. It is as much a part of my past as it was something that was just a cool piece of art. Like we had done 2 other adaptations, V for Vendetta and Cloud Atlas, and I think out of those 3, like those are both cool like pieces of media, but like the book of Cloud Atlas is amazing. If you haven't read it, you should check it out. But Speed Racer, there was something about it that was like, I had visceral memories of it. Like I remember like running home from school to watch this crazy cartoon, and yeah, so there's like something in the adaptation that was an examination of like, who am I? Where does my, like Lana likes to talk about, the examination of our aesthetic. And I think like, for me, it's also a part of like examining like who I am and why do I like the stuff that I like. And so Speed Racer was like a perfect thing to begin that endeavor.
Amazing. So
if that answers your question.
Well, I mean, so I guess like also, was this a therapeutic movie for y'all to make after going through so much of a gauntlet? Or was it something completely else? Because as we all know, it's like a very like almost avant-garde movie in places, or in its entirety.
Yes, I mean, because you're getting into like sort of the, you know, these big questions about like, well, why do I like the things that I like? That is, it's very freeing. So the idea of being able to like take a potential film and shatter it into a million pieces, and then start putting those pieces together in this mosaic. I mean, the Matrix franchise taught us how you separate these film layers, and Speed Racer was a way for us to really dig our hands into that and really explore and really play in a sandbox with a childlike glee, and you know, that's what we did. We had so much love for that cartoon. You know, we as a family, we grew up sort of, you know, we were kind of weirdos in our neighborhood, and we were bullied a lot. And so like that opening sequence with young Speed that doesn't exist in the cartoon. It's not part of it. So that's really us looking at this piece and putting ourselves in it, like literally, but then just like pouring all of our love and all of our blood into this medium that we love so much.
Well, I want to ask about that opening because I think it's one of the most like audacious openings in a movie ever put on screen. So as you had learned all these techniques from The Matrix, like separating layers, what was it like constructing like the opening of this movie? Because like it was basically, it was unlike anything else that had come before it. And I guess I'm asking, what was it like? I'm asking guys like, what was it like painting a masterpiece? I don't know. I guess that's what was it cool?
It was pretty cool.
You can be as technical or untechnical as well.
I mean, it's hard to like describe the process because the process took place over the entirety of the shoot. You know, there's so many elements in it. There's so many like pieces that like took, you know, a lot of time and effort, a lot of energy, a lot of like different artists working on it. Like one of the things that we were doing early on in our career was we were always interested in camera tests. We had to figure out what something looked like, and so you know there's this little piece of footage when we were trying to figure out what bullet time was, and Warner Brothers gave us this money that we went and hired this visual effects company called Mass Illusion at the time, and we got this like 9-second piece of footage of just this guy doing like a quick and dirty version of bullet time, and there was this gas can, like a bomb blowing up in the background, and so it had all of these elements in it. It like had all these patches on his jumpsuit because they wanted to see how the cameras interpolated this detail of what he was wearing. But it was like this amazing tool that we were able to use to eventually get the financing, because they would just give us little bits of money here and there, and eventually an actor. So we would show this footage to everybody, and they would go, "Oh, that's so dope," or whatever they were saying at the time. That's super snazzy. Jeepers. And so we did the same thing with Speed Racer, and there's some test footage, and it was basically a version of the Grand Prix, and not as wild as the Grand Prix, but you know there was the zoetrope thing with the zebra was in it, and a lot of the concepts that are in the final are in it. And once we had that, you know, they were like, okay, we know what this is going to look like. Little did they know, but that was just like the action part. And so like even that is like one of the early components of the first 20 minutes. And then it's just about creating the collage, the mosaic. Like you've got all your pieces, you got to put them together. It was the first time that we had worked with 2 editors because there was so much footage. And my experience was that because the Avids were very early Avids back then, you would work with one editor until the Avid crashed. Then you go over to the other guy. You work with him until that Avid crashed. Then you go back and forth and back and forth. And yeah, there was one shot like in the Grand Prix. There's like the where all the heads are coming out. We called it the head bouquet, where you get all the like characters are wiping on and off. And that shot took that guy Roger Barton. It took him like a full day to make that one shot. So you start working from the locker room, and then you start putting these pieces and layering this story together, and you come away with this the absolute velocity that we're able to tell the story was something that we were I mean, there was a euphoria to it. Like we could feel like we were tapping into something that was, it was unreal. Like there's like, you know, and you cut something and it's just like, oh, well, give that 148 frames. And it's just like a typical Hollywood value for a shot. Like you've got an insert, make it 48 frames, I guess. Or if it's fast insert, maybe it's 36. That's 2 seconds, it's 48 frames. And so we were just like, we couldn't believe that what we were seeing was like the ability to go so quickly and move through the narrative so fast that we were just, it was like this dark matter narrative. It was so dense that, yeah, we as soon as we got through that first race, we were like, okay, this is going to be an intense movie to watch. I think the kids are ready for it, though.
You were. So speaking of all of this, like the magic of creation, and obviously, you know, appropriate with what the themes of the movie are, what was it like showing this to the Suits and dailies? Like, what was this like showing it to Warner Brothers and dailies, or, you know, test screenings and things like that? What did they think of this?
Well, I mean, the dailies are, because you're looking at like people on green screen, and I don't know if they understood what they were seeing. But you know, when they watched the film, I think everybody was pretty ashen-faced. You know, maybe there was a little trickle coming out of their ears. I mean, the producer, Joel Silver, was, he had his son Max, was the target audience for this movie. He was like, you know, he was, you know, hyperactive. He had ADHD, and was just, you know, he would watch the film with this like these intense eyeballs, and just they were this amazing pair to watch. Joel felt like he had the most unusual film of his career at the time, and when it came out and it didn't do what everybody wanted it to do at the box office, it was like that was the end of our relationship. But he was just he was staggered by it that it didn't find the audience then.
Did he like it? Like, did
Oh,
he himself like it?
He loved it. Yeah, he was a huge supporter.
So then, I want to ask you about some of the collaborators on this film. I feel like every time I go to the Q&A, I'm a musician, so I feel like I go to this Q&A and no one ever wants to ask about the score or what directors work like. It's like working with composers. What was it like working with Michael Giacchino on one of his 2 best scores, his second best score being Jupiter Ascending?
I mean, he's an absolute dream. He's a film lover. He loved the cartoon when he was a kid. He was funny because we kept pushing him to go to the theme, and his music would dance around it and like tease you, but not quite give it to you.
He was edging you.
Yes, he was edging. He was edging. Total edging. And there's this moment in the Casa Cristo race where Speed comes driving back up the mountainside, and the car it's this free, we called it the Free Willy shot, where the Mach 5 like launches into the air behind Snake Oiler, and I was just like, Michael, you need to hit the theme right there. And he's like, oh really? You think I should go for it? I should go for it, Michael. And he did, and it was like, it turned out great. He was like, I remember him like always being excited that we pushed him to bring that element into it.
Another collaborator I want to ask in this movie. So I have like my Mount Rushmore of like good movie dads. And John Goodman as Pops RACER is like definitely one of my favorites. And so can you tell me what it was like working with John Goodman? Because I vaguely remember when this movie came out, like hearing about it was like a very familial set amongst the cast, and like people being very supportive of John the entire time. Can you speak on that?
I mean, he's John Goodman. He's amazing. You know, everything. You know, the whole cast they're just. That we pushed as many aspects of our own family into the family, and like Pops RACER, we would call our dad Pops a lot. He was this big Polish guy, son of a Polish butcher. He had a mustache. He was bald, and you know, John understood that and like embraced that part, and there was so much of the part that we kind of tailored for him. The whole like wrestling aspect was a thing that we're like, oh wow, yeah, John would be really good at this. He'll love to do this. And you know, the storyboard artist Steve Scrose had like concocted the whole zoom in on the wrestling ring as the Nanja fight. And yeah, he was just a treat, and was so proud of the movie afterwards. He was like, I've never been in anything like this, and it makes me so proud to have been a part of it.
Ryan, how are we on time? I can't see anything. There's a light in my face. Ryan? All right, well, seems like we're good. Okay, cool. So I think one of the biggest aspects of this film, and you know, I kind of just want to ask it about is like, obviously this movie was not a success when it came out. Didn't do not Leaving Las Vegas, what stays in Vegas numbers. And I guess my question is like, over the course of like almost 18 years at this point, this movie came out, it wasn't a success, and then I was one of the people in that theater opening night. Like I'm sure there are people in this audience who were there opening night. And I feel like maybe we all have this kind of shared experience where we saw this movie, saw something in it, saw some beauty and infinity in it, and then for years we had to defend this movie and like make sure people understood that it was not like pop slop or like corny confection or anything like that. And I guess like my question is like, this movie is like touched and moved people and like actually like changed people's lives. Like as I told you, like I came out on stage to this movie at the Indiana University Cinema as a woman, and so I guess I want to ask you. 4 years and 9 days ago, baby. My question to you is, how does that make you and Lana feel? Because like you're not strangers to your work being reappraised or, you know, being rediscovered or like reevaluated, but like this movie in particular, I feel like holds like an especially essential place in like the, you know, like the comeback around on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice, it's cool. It's complicated. It's like, you know, that's not why you make art. You know, you don't make art for, you know, that thing. And so it's like you make art to tell a story about yourself, to express an emotion, to heal holes in your heart. And it's funny because like I see what I see what happened when that film, when the Speed Racer came out, and like how it was received, and it helped me understand the industry a little bit more. You know, it's like when you make an anti-capitalist film that is, you know, a tool of capitalism, it like confuses people, and it also, like, I think people who are capitalists, they really don't like to be told about, you know, the evils of capitalism. So I think like a lot of our reviews that we got back then, and a lot of the pushback to that film was, you know, it laid bare, you know, the mechanisms of the industry. But it also, like, after it came out, it centered me in a way that was, I began to understand like the true purpose of art, because right after it came out, we were on our way to Berlin to make this another film with James McTeague called Ninja Assassin. And in that movie, we shot second unit, and so like we got off the plane basically and went back to work, and you know, I was not in a good place. And Ninja Assassin, the first thing that we shot was this bathroom scene where the main character, played by Rain, the cool Korean pop star who's in Speed Racer, he has a hit on this big gangster guy who is also in here. He plays the guy, Roger Allen's security guard who lifts Chim Chim up. And it's just the goriest fight that we had ever like got to shoot. And there was something that I began to understand what catharsis was. And like that was a value of art making for me at that moment. And I was like, okay, you have to be in the moment when you're making your shit and not think about what happens afterwards. It's great that like, you know, you can touch people in a way, and like I fucking love, you know, when trans people come up to me and they tell me, you know, my films, what they've meant to them and how they've helped them come out of the closet in the same way that they helped me come out of the closet. There are trails of breadcrumbs that me and Lana have used in our films to get the fuck out of the closet, and y'all have picked up on that and found those crumbs. So like, that part is extremely meaningful to me.
I think that was our 5 minutes. I don't know what to say after that except for protect fucking trans kids, fuck us.